former science or arts and say aha Ghana to so and some air ever of mining eno and as a wonderful snowy major kunasia. Na me ni na abro na arofo and some air dear be bessie as a winnie and was here catch on papa wobble and Cindy ano abro. Young boy name could see a yen send me pa no matter.
Inflation fell significantly to 26.4% in November 2023 from 35.2% in October. According to figures from the Ghana Statistical Service, food inflation was the major contributor to the decline in the rate of inflation. Food inflation dropped by 12.6% to 32.2% in November 2023. Here's government statistician Professor Samuel Kobneni.
The consumer price index stood at 198.2 relative to 156.8 that was recorded for the same time in November 2022. Consumer price index for the month of November 2023 stood at 198.2 relative to 156.8. Given these two indices for November 2022 and November 2023, year-on-year inflation for the month of November 2023 stood at 26.4. Year-on-year inflation for the month of November 2023 stood at 26.4%. This 26.4% signifies an 8.8 percentage point drop relative to the rate of inflation that was recorded for October 2023. In October 2023, rate of inflation stood at 35.2, and given the rate of inflation for November 2023, 26.4, we have seen an 8.8 percentage point difference between the year-on-year inflation for October 2023 and November 2023. This literally means that between the month of November 2022 and November 2023, general prices of goods and services went up by 26.4%. Between the month of November 2022 and November 2023, prices of goods and services went up by 26.4%. Month-on-month inflation, that is between October 2023 and November 2023, stood at 1.5%, signifying a 0.9 percentage point increase relative to the rate that was recorded in October 2023. In October 2023, we saw a decline from 1.9% to 0.6%. This decline that we saw from September to October 2023 has been reversed by a 0.9 percentage point increase between October 2023 and November 2023. From a trend perspective, we analyze the year-on-year inflation for November 2023 over a 13-month period, that is November 2022 to November 2023, and same is done for monthly inflation on a trend perspective for the 22-month period, that is November 2022 to November 2023. Since November 2022, we've seen the sharpest decline in year-on-year inflation over the 13-month period, with the sharpest decline recording a change of 8.8 percentage points between October 2023 and November 2023. For the fourth time in a row, we continue to see a decline in year-on-year inflation. Inflation started slowing down from July 2023. It slowed down to 40.1%, further slowed down to 38.1% and 35.2% for the month of September and October 2023 respectively. And for the month of November 2023, we've seen the steepest drop over the 13-month period.
All right, join us to make sense of these latest numbers. Research lead at GCB Capital, Courage Buti. Good afternoon to you. So that's quite a significant reduction of close to 9%. Your assessment of these latest numbers and what we should make of it?
Well, good afternoon to your listeners. Yes, significant drop, but not a surprise. I think it's been predicted severally by different analysts that we're going to say this is largely due to base drift. Remember, I think we recorded the sharpest increases in inflation in the month of November and December 2022. By way of how CPS computed, you would have that base effect, the sharp increases in the base that time, having a major impact on the outturn this time round. So yes, there has been a lot of factors underpinning the decline in inflation, but for this particular print, it was mostly about the impact of the favorable base drift that has brought it to where it is. 26.4 is a sharp decline, but at that level, we are still quite a distance from the target band, really. And so it's a good development. It has implications that cut across the economy, really. And it gives now Bank of Ghana the lee room to strengthen their policy stance, because they will now have what you call a positive real monetary policy rate, which is what you need to sustain this inflation, really. Because at the point when inflation was surging and monetary policy was more or less following it, they couldn't compete because it has ramifications for other sectors of the economy. But now that it is receding and below monetary policy rate, the central bank has a positive real monetary policy rate, and they could be able to sustain that stance until inflation recedes sufficiently before you see them respond with some cuts in the policy rate. So positive development, but they need to be sustained going forward.
All right, we'll discuss the outlook and what some research firms are saying a bit. But what does this mean for the consumer? Because then the question comes up: how is this, or is this really reflecting on the ground? Do you think consumers, are they really seeing significant changes in prices?
Well, not really. You are not. I don't think it's anyone's expectation with inflation declining that you see prices reduce on the market. That is not a correct expectation. What it means is that the rate at which prices are increasing is slowing. So, for instance, if inflation is 50%, it means that between last year and the period we are referring to, prices of the goods you buy have increased by some 50%. So if you were buying something 100 cedi, most likely after a year you get it at maybe 150 cedis thereabouts. That is what inflation at 50% means. So now that inflation is at 26%, what it really means that between November last year and this November, just past November, prices of goods and services have increased by 26%. The rate at which it's increasing has slowed down from what we knew as 54.1% at its peak now to about 26.1%. So you wouldn't see as sharp increases in prices as previously was the case when you go to market. The increases will be more gentle now. And so if maybe something was sold for 100 cedi now, when you go to market a year hence, you may see there are 120, 126 cedis rather than increase to 150, 200 thereabout. That is what it means. So cost of living is still very high. And with every print of inflation, it means that prices of goods and services on the market are increasing. But the rate at which they are increasing is what is slowing down. It is good that way because it allows you room to plan. You know that between this period and that period, this will be your cost of living. And then you plan how to meet that, as opposed to the sharp increases where you are left particularly vulnerable.
And that's a useful explanation for our audience this afternoon. Well, let's look.
You're out of where the one cassa or the was so I could take your air coso, air or mind can you say have a lot of comments for us. Let's also call comment section. No, we are commenting na Eddie Amana a one of Snowy. Major Brenna making kind na Eddie Amon answer a message. Now, Miss I come home say, aha, Ghana too. So, when I subscribe, I don't for subscribing. Na hate and notification bell no my FFF na fin so like videos ni na sisi ade video